Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dan Owolabi Podcast. Man, we are excited today because we are literally backstage in the Branches Summit. And it's going on right now. We have Mats Tunehag, who literally just got off the stage and delivered an amazing talk. Mats and I have been friends for years, and he's a pioneer of the business as mission movement from Sweden. And we have a lot to talk about in regards to faith, business integration. Mats, thanks for taking the time to join us.
Thanks for having me.
There's a couple things I want to hit on first. For those of you who don't know, Mats, can you give them just an overview of who you are, what your organization has done, and how long you've been at it?
Mats Tunehag, and originally from Sweden. My wife is from the US, from Alaska. And
both cold areas.
Right. So none of us really like cold. But anyway, God is gracious, and there's a lot of warmth in fellowship, and we have a great community where we live, especially in Sweden. I've been involved in looking at how business can serve God and people and bring about holistic transformation. Done that for about 30 years. Started in the stans, so Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. I was involved in the Soviet Union and post-Soviet Union, and that's where my journey started. And then God let that grow, and we looked at, what does it mean to do business for God and for the common good? What's a biblical foundation? What does it mean for the church? What does it mean for people? What are some lessons learned historically? What are some challenges that we need to meet in and through business? And my wife works globally on anti-trafficking, and we've been working together also on business solutions to human trafficking.
Wow, that's great. One of the things I love about sort of the business as mission movement and BAM Global, which you lead, is the idea that, you say this on a regular basis, that business is a gift from God, full stop.
Right.
Operating a business is a creative expression of God. And I think what made you and the business as mission movement so powerful, and for those of you who have heard about the business as mission movement or BAM before, Mats helped popularize that phrase. I mean, the thing that I'm so interested in is understanding what was it about business as mission that was such a watershed? What were people thinking about business before? And then when business as mission started coming about, how did that change the landscape?
Yeah. Often people were thinking about business in two ways. Business and mission as two separate entities, Rudyard Kipling kind of thing. East is east and west is west, and never the twain shall meet, So mission is mission, and business is business, and never the twain shall meet.
I'm doing business, I'm doing mission.
Yeah, and those are two separate things. So they were not connected. There was no cohesion or integration. The other thing that was quite common, it was that, I guess business can make money and give it to church and to charitable causes, business for mission.
Yeah.
So we have and for, and what we wanted to emphasize was that business as a mission, business as a ministry in its own right, business as a calling, business as a gift from God to transform the world.
That's good. So if you're running a business and you take away sort of the, hey, I'm going to give money to my church, and then you're running a business and you take away sort of the evangelical sprinkling on it, what you're saying is that's still good. Like it's still in itself like an expression of God's creative gift, and you're creating something in the world that is good and holistic and sort of represents what God's trying to do as he expands his kingdom. Yeah.
Yeah. Business is not a distraction. It's the instrument that God has given some people, to create a beautiful symphony. If you like classical music, Johann Sebastian Bach, he wrote on all his scores to the greater glory of God. And of course, he spent hours and hours practicing on the organ. And he created all this beautiful music that have lasted for generations. It glorifies God because it has a lot of beauty. Now, imagine if somebody came and told Johann Sebastian Bach, don't spend so much time practicing on that instrument. It must be a distraction. Just create beautiful music. That's ridiculous. That instrument was connected to the beautiful music. Now, business as an instrument is connected to creating human flourishing, because God wants human flourishing. And businesses are those strong transformational agents that can do that. And financial flourishing, yes, and social flourishing, and spiritual flourishing, intellectual flourishing, and you name it. So that's why we want to hone in on that business and fine-tune it. Listen to God and get the tone from Him. It's like, yep, I'm going to fine-tune that a little bit more. Oh, I need to fine-tune that a little bit more. So, it's a never-ending fine-tuning and practicing thing that we're doing. At the end of the day, we want our businesses to be a symphony to God's glory, and not a cacophony.
That's good. No, that's really good. I love that. It reminds me of the quote from Eric Liddell where he's talking about running. And I think the story goes, somebody tried to tell him not to run on Sunday and, because he was going to run the Olympics, blah, blah, blah. And he looks at somebody in the movie Chariots of Fire and he says, "You don't understand. God made me fast. And when I run, I feel His pleasure."
Right.
And it's the idea that God made me good at business. And when I maximize the business, I feel His pleasure. I'm playing this instrument to its finest ability, and then good things can come from that.
Right.
That's incredible. I love that.
Because it is a calling, and we need to, we tend to, we believe in the body of Christ as Christians. We read the book, read the chapter, and we profess that that's it. But we tend to actually believe and practice the pyramid of Christ. Where at the top you have people who are really spiritual pastors and missionaries. Right?
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And we call them, they are in full-time ministry.
Right.
And they have the halo they polish in the morning in the bathroom kind of thing. And then, well, if you can't make it to the top, maybe you could at least work for a Christian organization or some charity. Or further down, you'll have people in people-caring professions, doctors, nurses, teachers. Yeah. And then at the base of the pyramid, you have all kinds of professionals and, people in general in the secular arena. But then under the pyramid, they're not even on the pyramid. That's the business people, because they're really bad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you have to be in the picture, fine.
Right. Yeah. But we'll grant them absolution if they give money to the people at the top of the pyramid.
That's right.
And then we're asking them, hey, you should really serve God. Could you please climb the pyramid? Now, the good news, especially if you don't like exercise, there is no pyramid to climb. If God has called you to business, that is your highest calling.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah. I love that idea. And I think it really resonates with the people who are watching, typically CEOs, executives, owners, people who are really trying to build what matters in the world. Right. And hearing that what they're gifted to do, what they love to do, is actually maybe an extension of how God is going to build His kingdom and continue to expand His influence. I love that. On the stage today, in the Branches Summit, you talked specifically about some Hebrew words that I think really resonated with the audience. And what I love about that is that you helped us go back to sort of the early days of the Bible and sort of tied in Jewish traditions to current contemporary practices. And basically you're saying, hey, these aren't new ideas. This is how God initially intended it. Can you give us those words?
Yeah, and these are important because what we do now is not a trend. It's not the latest trend. We have deep roots, and one of those roots are the term avodah, a Hebrew word for work, worship, and service. Then if you look at the Old Testament, what we call the Old Testament, they're used interchangeably. I go to work in the field, work, avodah. I go to the temple to worship God, avodah. I want to serve God and people, avodah. Yeah. And there's a cohesion. They're connected. It's part of an integrated whole. And we have deep roots. And a tree with strong roots can laugh at the storm. And there will be tough times in the marketplace. There may be new kinds of conversations in the church. But we say, no, we are deeply rooted. This is not a fad. This is not something I made up. It's actually part of where we're coming from. Tikkun olam is another Hebrew expression that means to repair the world. Observing what is, which is often broken, and then bridge the gap from what is to what it ought to be. And while we're bridging that gap, we co-create with God to make a difference, whether we have a business solutions to human trafficking, or business solutions to environmental degradation, and business solutions to youth unemployment. And the Lord's Prayer is a Tikkun olam prayer. It is saying, hey, here's what's like on earth, right? Not always as it should
great,
be,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, but we want God's kingdom, God's will to be done. We want that gap to be bridged, and we want to be those conduits. So tikkun olam. So next time you pray the Lord's Prayer, the Lord's Prayer, it's a tikkun olam prayer. I want to co-create with God in prayer, in business practices, and see how we move from what is, which could be broken, to heal and repair. Because tikkun olam means heal and repair a broken world.
That's so good. I think what's so remarkable about what you're saying is you're talking about this idea that by sort of seeing problems in the world and wanting to build a business that sort of eliminates that problem, that is very, very close to God's heart. And so when you're saying, gosh, there should be a solution to that, or gosh, there should be a product to solve that problem, you're expressing what God put in you. And that's a game changer for people.
Yeah, it is. And we are too used to thinking there should be a non-profit solution
right.
to these issues.
Yeah.
But this is also, if you want to dig further into our Jewish roots, the highest form of charity in the Jewish tradition is not to give away stuff, is to give a person a job. That's the highest form of charity. Or to give that person a loan so they can start and grow a business. Because handouts never give dignity, but jobs do. And God wants human dignity to be restored and human beings to flourish. And then jobs are essential because jobs give dignity. And so that's why we having seeing that we have roots, seeing that we have people who have gone before us, seeing that this is something that has a historical base and a broad church base, makes us more secure. This is not my idea. It's not Dan's idea. It's God's idea.
Exactly. It's not a new idea. None of us came up with it.
Right.
It's our Father. That's fantastic. Yeah. One of the things I love about just the way you talk about this is that you're not necessarily saying that the way people thought about business and mission before was wrong. What I hear you saying is that it was incomplete, and it's sort of a progression now. First, people were thinking business was bad, which again, probably not great. But then also, hey, business can be used for, giving money to charity. But now business in itself can be a form of creating dignity and opportunity. Like you said, sort of that Jewish perspective of charity being giving people jobs and giving people dignity. It could be the highest form of charity. So it's almost this progression over the years that we're getting better and better at getting closer and closer to what God originally intended things to be.
Yeah. So what we're talking about here is not the new silver bullet that's going to solve everything, but seeing the business and business people are an underutilized resource. And what we want to do is, affirm business people. This is a godly calling. Secondly, you want to equip them, like you do at branches. Equip them to serve. And then thirdly, we want to deploy them then to service, to address global issues that needs to be addressed.
Yep, that's good. That's really good. If somebody, watched your talk from the summit stage and really enjoyed it, and now they're like, okay, Mats Tunehag, for whatever reason, is now on my radar. Maybe they hadn't heard about you before. Maybe they lived under a rock for 30 years. But now they're like, I get it. I understand BAM Global. But then they put their head on the pillow at night and they say, okay, what is this guy about? What was his talk about? What would you want them to think? What's that nugget that you want them to pull from your presentation today?
Well, if God has called you to business, receive the affirmation from God and from our Judeo-Christian tradition that is an honorable calling. And then seek to be equipped. Like whether you're a carpenter or you're Johann Sebastian Bach, hey, you hone your skills, hone your business skills so you can serve with professionalism, excellence, and integrity. And then, which is one of my life mottos, go with God in the flow. Because you go with God in the sense of mission. Yeah, my business is my mission. But then always be open for how God can redirect, how God can change things and circumstances change. So, be mission true, but plan flexible.
Oh, wow. That's good. Say that again. Say that again.
Be mission true, but plan flexible. And everybody on this planet should have learned that early 2020 when COVID hit.
We all had plans.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you were stuck with plans are my mission, you had a big problem. But if you stayed mission true, then your plans can change.
That's good.
So let God surprise you, but go with Him and the flow wherever God may lead. And we don't really know, but have that kind of intentionality. And that's what we. So business as mission is not a formula or a cookie cutter approach. It is go with God and one another. Do things in community. Join branches. Check out bamglobal.org or businessasmission.com or many other websites. Get equipped and get connected and get going.
I love that. We've got a friend of mine from Costa Rica that says something very similar, where he says God doesn't give you a map, He gives you a compass.
Right.
And you can't follow the details, but He's going to give you that true north, which is good.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
The work that you're doing with BAM Global and, the other organizations you're a part of, I think are absolutely incredible. If people wanted to really understand more about who you were and how they can be involved, where would they find that information? Tell us about the books you've written. Tell us about the place they can go. Give us that information.
Right. Well, businessasmission.com, I would recommend that first. Because we have created and aggregated resources now for over 20 years and 1,000 different resources on business as mission and related kind of stuff. Not everybody uses the term, but agree with the concept.
You have an excellent map on your website that gives an ecosystem of all the organizations around the world that are, not all of them, but so many of them that are trying to sort of integrate faith in business. We're on there. A bunch of other organizations are on there. It's a great ecosystem.
So go to businessasmission.com or you can just Google actually BAM interactive ecosystem map, BAM ecosystem map, and you get it. So what we're trying to do as BAM Global is just to serve the global BAM movement and point people in different directions. Here's where you can learn. Here's what you can read. Watch this video. Go to this conference. Check these investment groups. Check these ones. And there are now networks, BAM-related networks all over the globe, and of course we operate in over 20 languages. And on my website, matstunehag.com, you find some of my writings and stuff like that in 23 languages or something. So check businessasmission.com, bamglobal.org. In that order, matstunehag.com if you get bored.
Yeah, right. That's good. And the books that you've written, I think have turned out to be very influential. I said on the stage, there's doctoral students that have used it in their dissertation a lot because some of the foundational ideas that are even commonplace now weren't commonplace when you were first writing it. Can you give us a book or a couple books, maybe if people are readers that they'd want to pick up?
Yeah, an easy one, which is free, is BAM A to Z or BAM A to Z.
If you're not an American.
Yes, exactly. So having learned from others, and that's why, over the years we've created so many global think tank groups and trying to pick people's brains and experiences and knowledges. So a few years ago, I thought, well, what are some of the key concepts, biblical concepts, and thinking about the English alphabet, and I got 52 words, and I sent it out to people around the globe. And have them, give some input. What do you think are the most important? I got some input, and I had my own input. And so created this little booklet, 60-something pages on critical values like avodah and tikkun olam and kingdom and mission and freedom and justice and God and all that. And if you go to matstunehag.com and click on the tab BAM in 23 languages, so you can get this for free, because this will get you going, and you can do 26 devotions, you can do 26 teaching moments, or you got the graphs and you got the links to other resources to that, and it's being translated into Mongolian right now. It does exist in Arabic. I think it exists in Portuguese as well. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Well, Mats, you've done a lot to kind of move the movement forward patiently year over year. It has to be thrilling to see so many organizations kind of picking up the ball, grabbing the baton, and sort of running the race that you've been running for so long.
Yeah, God is doing something amazing in our generation. Mm-hmm. And it's so sometimes people ask me, so what do you do? Well, I'm just trying to keep up with what God is doing.
That's right. That's right. Just as a quick example, then we'll wrap up. Mats, you and I together were at the Lausanne conference in South Korea, which for those of you who don't know, which is sort of this global conference of Christian evangelicals that get together to talk about literally the future of the church, right? So just influential leaders all over the globe from all these continents in one place, 5,000 people, invite only. It's a great community to be part of. It's an eclectic group. Mats is presenting on business as mission. And he had presented years before. This conference happens, every 15 years or something like that?
Well, it was 74, 89, 2010, 2024.
So 2010.
Yes.
So 24 years, right? 2010 was the last time they did it. And when you presented and other people presented, I mean, there was like 10 people in the room when you were talking about business as mission. I mean, just not a lot of people, maybe 100, just a very small group. He presented again in South Korea just in 2024. And I mean, hundreds.
Yeah, right? I mean, half the group of 5,000 actually signed up for this particular track, thousands. Faith at Work and Business as Mission. So, yeah, God is at work.
It's taken off, right?
Yes.
And you gave a great presentation there, which prompted me to bring you to the Branches stage as well. So,
thank you.
Yeah, good work. Mats, thanks for taking the time to come on the podcast. It's been exciting, and
thanks,
I'm hopeful that you'll be able to come back to the Branches stage again.
We'll be happy to.
Hopefully we have you on the podcast in the future.
Love to.
Thanks, Mats.
Thanks, Dan.